Now, this is the fastest I've ever intended to do this, and I'm already slightly behind, so buckle up because we're going to move very quickly through this. Okay, here's what we're going to hit. What is ozone? The big problem, what we're addressing. Understanding ozone as a therapy, indications, administration methods, and what you need. So this is a broad overview, okay? This is a very broad overview. Here we go. All of you probably know how ozone is formed, or the majority of you do. But I had a lightning bolt strike outside my house, and it felt like a bomb went off a couple nights ago here in a storm. What happened when that took place is that we had a bit of ozone that was created. Well, how? Well, that high voltage rips through the troposphere here near the Earth's surface. And when that happens, basically, you get ozone that's formed. It rips apart oxygen atoms, and some of them reform as 3 oxygen molecules instead of 2 oxygen molecules, and that's what we know as ozone. Couple things about ozone. One, it's very reactive, which means it breaks down quickly. When it comes into contact with something, especially organic matter, it's going to break down quickly. Practically, that means we can't store it very long. But that gives it its power. It oxidizes things very quickly. It's a very potent sterilizer, okay? So we can use it to sterilize all sorts of things. But we're going to focus more on medicine. So what is medical ozone? Well, it's basically ozone. It's just that we use a medical ozone generator and medical grade oxygen to create that ozone. So those are the 2 basic components actually that you need, not to get ahead of myself, but that is what we use to create medical ozone. There's a doctor, Dr. Arthur Guyton, and he said this: all chronic pain, suffering, and diseases are caused by a lack of oxygen at the cell level. There's a lot of doctors who have made similar statements to this, and this really gets to the very core of what ozone therapy does. And that's why I wanted to just use this quote really quick. Great to see you guys chatting still from Romania, Brazil. A lot of you from Brazil. It's great to have you here. But this is a definition that I wrote up. There's better definitions probably out there, but I didn't find one that I love. So I said, ozone therapy is a medical treatment that uses activated oxygen, aka ozone, to treat many chronic and acute diseases. It's a biological response modifier that increases oxygen utilization, optimizes mitochondrial function, and improves cellular health. It can be applied topically, infused into the blood and tissue through various means, or introduced into a fluid or oil which acts as a carrier. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what it is. Pakistan, great to see some Pakistanians here. It's a medical treatment. So what does that mean? Well, it means there's guidelines. We actually have guidelines on how to use ozone therapy, and you need to follow those guidelines. Now, those guidelines will change, okay, depending on who you're listening to. So be aware there's a breadth of understanding, wisdom, and knowledge throughout the world on how we should use ozone as a treatment. And it's not that one is right and the other is wrong. There's different opinions on how exactly we should use it. The bottom line is it's a safe treatment, and we can use it in a lot of different ways. And the reality is there's probably a lot of different protocols that will work, and we're figuring out which ones are the best. And that's part of what we're doing today, is talking about all of that. So let's jump into it. There's a lot of good resources. You see a few of them on the screen. Ours is called Veterinary Ozone Treatment Guide. And it's really just a very simple how-to book, step-by-step protocols for how to do ozone therapy for animals. It's based on the Madrid Declaration, as well as the German low-dose manual and the Russian manual in practice. Those are the 3 that I pretty much went off of when we created this, just FYI. What does it mean that it's a medical treatment? Well, going a little bit further in there, we have a lot of medical data available to us. This is not something that we don't know anything about. It's been around quite a while, and these studies have come to us from all over the world. So I was reading yesterday, again, some of the mechanisms of action involved in ozone therapy by Dr. Veliobaci and another individual who wrote this. And just some great information, but there's studies from cancer to joint problems to infections to autoimmune conditions that have been done on ozone therapy. Just be aware of that. One of the big words that I use or phrases is the word biological response modifier. It's basically just saying when we use ozone, it's modifying how the cell works a little bit and how the cells respond to each other so that we become healthier at the end of the day. So this is a picture of a cell, simplistic picture of a cell. It is a little complicated though. You see all these reactions occurring. One of the things we know about ozone therapy is that it goes in and it helps to correct the ratio of NAD and NADH in the cell. I'm not going to go into detail on that. Some of our speakers might talk a little bit more about some of the science behind it. But what we do know is that helps the cell to bring in, utilize oxygen, create ATP, increase the mitochondrial function and the Krebs cycle, optimize that function. So a lot of these things are just cascade effects because ozone is being introduced into the body. Now my time is very close to up and I need to move a little bit quicker. So ozone stimulates and stabilizes rather than suppressing biological functions. Ozone itself does not produce the healing. Instead, it induces the body's innate healing mechanisms to create the healing effect. Thus, unlike medications and herbs, it can be successfully used in essentially every medical condition, regardless of the diagnosis. This is a quote by Dr. Frank Schellenberger, great doctor here in the US who does ozone therapy. Our speakers will get more into some of the different uses, indications. They're also going to get into some of these administration methods. So we can use it on practically everything is the bottom line. And we can administer it in a lot of different ways. These are 12 of those ways, okay, that I have here on the screen in front of you. There's more than 12. Major autohemotherapy, minor autohemotherapy, in fluids. We can infuse it rectally into the ears, intramammary for bovine, limb bagging, combining it with ultraviolet blood irradiation, combining it with prolotherapy, direct intravenous, which is a little bit of a, one that some people are hesitant to do. Oils and creams can be used topically, and bladder insufflation is the last one there. So a lot of different ways to administer it. Dr. Shoemaker, who is on this call with us, she's listening, she may be even chatting with you guys, I don't know, said ozone therapy is one of the easiest possible treatments to administer. It's really a great investment because it will literally help every animal. Love that quote. So what do you need to do ozone therapy? Well, central piece is an ozone generator. You need that more than anything else. Secondary to that, you'll need oxygen. And then there's a number of other accessories, and this screen gets a little bit difficult to view, but here's our ozone generator. Here's our oxygen tank. There's bubblers like this one and this one here. There's destruct, there's rectal catheters like this. There's products like our suppositories or our pet liniment for topical use. There's ear insufflation cups. There's a limb bag kit. There's a insufflation bag. So a lot of things that you can use for ozone therapy, but there's a few core pieces. Just understand that. Now, as you get going with it, there's a few things that could be helpful. We can provide some of those, a marketing kit, some training we do online. We have an online training course. If you go to vetozonetraining.com, there's actually an online course there. I think that's, I should know. I think that's it. We have some videos that are available online on our YouTube channel, and then we have some for purchase as well. So there's a lot of things that we can provide. Our guarantee, if ozone therapy doesn't become one of your favorite treatments, we'll refund your money and treat you to dinner. Now, that's only for veterinarians, first of all. And secondly, it only qualifies, again, for people who are here in the United States. But we want you to know, we think you'll love it if you're not already doing it.